uh, RB2 batch. Good evening, the new batch, and thank you very much for the emails I got from you all across. I would say a lot of people joining us from uh, Ukraine and Russia and other parts of the world too, like China and all that. Welcome, and thank you very much for your response. And once again, Eid Mubarak. And it's not a good idea to study on a festival day, but you know what, when you are passionate about your dream, then even studying becomes a celebration. I know it's not a very good thing to hear, but if you're passionate about dream, right, your dream, that I have to pass the exam in this session only, if this dream is burning within you, then the studying just becomes a mechanism to make that dream happen. That's all. Otherwise, nobody can fall in love with studies, Peter. Study is not a natural activity for the brain. If you are like me, then I think you would agree with me that you have to force yourself to study. At least for me, it's a very, very obvious thing that I never like to study. I never enjoy studying. Like, I cannot say that I'm very much, passionate about studying. Eventually, why we study? Because we have to clear one exam. So let's be very clear. Let's call a spade over here, and let's make the dream within us very, very clear and very, very deep, so that the studying becomes a mechanism for that dream to be fulfilled. Brain doesn't want to study, but brain wants to follow the dreams. Actually, I repeat, brain doesn't enjoy studying, but brain always enjoys following the dreams. Actually, brain wants to see the dreams being realized, and study becomes only a mechanism for that dream to be realized. So let's make our dreams deeper, stronger, and let's work day by day for that dream. When we crack that news to our parents that we have cleared this exam in this session only, and it is possible, beta, it is absolutely possible. I'm teaching for MCA segment for last 12 years. This is my 13th year with the MCA segments, and I'm teaching for PG also for last 16 years, actually, I would say. And MCA exam is a very, very compassionate exam. There's a wrong news in the market. It's a very tough exam. It is a wrong news, beta. An exam which is asking you to score 150 out of 300 questions without negative marking cannot be labeled as a tough exam. I'm repeating, an exam which is asking you to score 150 out of 300 cannot be asked as a labeled as a difficult exam. I'm not saying that it's like just like a cakewalk. No, it's not a cakewalk. But if you are ready to do hard work, may God bless us, and we will all pass the exam. It is a doable exam. There is no negative marking. Passing criteria is 50% out of 300, only 150 question. Every second question we have to score. Believe me, without negative marking, it is not that difficult to do as your seniors may have told you. Only thing is that we need to do structured, dedicated, and daily hard work. When I say structured, means follow the notes passionately. When I say dedicated, this dream should be within you. Trust yourself better. Trust you are having a very huge capability in yourself. You have survived in the very harsh circumstances of a foreign country. I have been to many foreign countries and dealt with a lot of MCA batches there. It's not easy to live in a place where the language is not understandable, the food is not comprehensible, the people are totally alien to us, but still you guys survived over there. It means we have sharp intellect and sharp brain. Only thing is we have to put this brain now to be used to study. That's all. In a structured way, in a dedicated way, and lastly, daily basis. Daily. Consistency is very important. Better. Consistency. We have to really make it a habit to study now. Okay, so it's a good exam. We can crack it. Only thing is, I want you to do a lot of dedicated hard work. Okay. Only imagine yourself telling your parents that mom and dad, I've cleared this exam. Can you imagine what kind of happiness they will have in their heart at that moment? So let's look for that dream when we tell our parents with pride, we have cleared the exam. So that's a dream I want to inculcate within you, and I want each one of you to prepare very hard for that, and may everyone pass with it. This is my utmost desire and heartfelt desire and dream when I would see each one of you passing the exam with it. Okay. So now let's continue the journey further. Yesterday we were doing larynx. Today we do the larynx second part, and then we start the nose and sinuses. Today's class is till 8:30. It's a little bit 30-minute extra today. And in the first part, we are going to start the larynx portion next. Can we start now the next portion? Yes. Okay. Fine. Okay. So let's start the next topic of larynx, and what the topic name? Laryngomalacia. Next topic, laryngomalacia. Now this is a star topic for your paper again. Laryngomalacia. Now, what it is, write down. It is most common congenital disease of larynx. It is most common congenital disease of larynx. Most common congenital disease of larynx. Sorry. Laryngomalacia, sorry for that. Laryngomalacia, L-A-R-Y-N-G-O, laryngomalacia is the most common congenital disease of larynx. Okay, now, write down. You guys, please understand the word, Malaysia means weakness. Okay, write down. Second point, it is weakness of supraglottis. It is weakness of supraglottis. Guys, Malaysia means weakness. Malaysia means weakness. It is weakness of supraglottis. It is weakness of supraglottis. So the next topic is laryngomalacia, and please understand this is a very, very important topic for your MCI paper. Again, it's a star MCI topic, laryngomalacia. It is a weakness of supraglottis. Okay, can we go further? It is weakness of supraglottis. Next point. Then what will happen? This leads to examination finding. Examination shows omega shaped epiglottis. Omega shaped epiglottis. Omega shaped. I hope you remember, supraglottis means the upper part of larynx. Now, epiglottis is a part of supraglottis. Epiglottis is a part of supraglottis. It is omega shaped epiglottis, like this one. Okay, the epiglottis is folded, it's weak, that is why it will get folded, and that shape is called omega shaped epiglottis. Omega shaped epiglottis. Can you see in the real time omega shaped epiglottis better? So yes, and that leads to examination finding called omega shaped epiglottis. And can you see omega shaped folded? This is the omega beta. Look at screen beta. Can you see over here? This is the omega shaped. This one. This is the omega shape. No? This is omega shaped epiglottis. Okay. I hope you have got the images in the app only. In the app, I put up the PDF of all the images of pharynx, larynx, nose, sinuses, ear, everything one by one. Okay. So please download that from the app, and the different PDFs for all the topics of ENT. Okay. So omega shaped epiglottis is a feature of laryngomalacia. Now, chief complaint. What is the complaint of the patient? Inspiratory stridor. Do you remember stridor? Stridor means noisy breathing. Inspiratory stridor. You know why? When the supraglottis will get collapsed, you know, whenever the airway is obstructed, there is a sound in breathing, and that sound is called stridor, beta. That sound is called stridor. If you remember, supraglottic blockage causes inspiratory stridor. Yesterday we said that stridor means noisy breathing, cause is airway obstruction. Then we said it is of three types: inspiratory, expiratory, and biphasic. And in the first one said inspiratory stridor is due to supraglottic problems. It is laryngomalacia is a weakness of supraglottis. So that's why inspiratory stridor. Okay. Now, about inspiratory stridor, write few points. Write few points. Number one, first point, it appears in first few days after birth. It appears in first few days after birth. It's a congenital problem, na? Look at the first word. It is congenital weakness of supraglottis. It is the most common congenital disease, congenital since birth. It appears in first few days after birth. Okay. Second point. These are the point of what? Stridor beta. Stridor points. First point, second point. It increases on crying. When the child cries, after that, this stridor increases. It increases on crying beta. Crying. Third point. It decreases in prone position. You know prone? You know prone means lying on the tummy. Lying on the tummy is prone, na? Okay, lying on the back is supine. Na? But when you make the baby lie down on the tummy, the stridor decreases. Okay, so there are 3 points about stridor. Number one, it appears in first few days of after birth. It increases on crying. It decreases in prone position. Okay, fine. Do you remember it, beta? Okay. Now, next point. Write down. Cry sound of baby. Cry sound of baby is normal. Cry sound of baby is normal. In this patient, cry sound of baby is normal. Normal. There is no problem with the cry sound with that. Why? Because vocal cords are normal. Because vocal cords are normal. Cry sound of the baby is normal because vocal cords are normal. Cry sound of the baby is normal because vocal cords are normal. Do you remember, beta? It is a weakness of supraglottis. It is not a problem of vocal cord. It's not a problem of glottis. It's a weakness of supraglottis. So cry sound of the baby is normal because when the baby cries right after birth, that cry is absolutely normal because sound comes from vocal cord, na? Okay? Because vocal cords are normal. Now, treatment. Treatment is conservative treatment. Conservative treatment. Conservative treatment. Reassure parents that it is self-limiting disease. Reassure parents that it is self-limiting disease. This is also the MCI question 2 time. But treatment of laryngomalacia is no treatment, beta. You don't want to do any surgery. You don't need to do anything like, any urgent thing. Don't worry. Within few months, the baby will be all right. Just reassure parents it is self-limiting condition or self-limiting disease. Conservative treatment. What is the conservative treatment? Reassure. Conservative means no active treatment, but talk to the parents. Reassure parents that it is self-limiting disease. Within few months, the baby will grow up and it will be fine. It will be fine. Okay? So this is a very vital topic for your paper, laryngomalacia. Okay? Fine. Now, let's revise this topic once again. Let's revise this topic once again, beta. Please see. Now, this topic name is laryngomalacia. It is the most common congenital disease of larynx since birth. Malacia means weakness. It is weakness of supraglottis, the upper part of the larynx, supraglottis. That is why it shows what? Look at the screen. Omega-shaped epiglottis. Chief complaint is inspiratory stridor. 3-point word stridor. It appears in first few days after birth. It increases on crying. It decreases in prone position. But cry sound of the baby is normal because vocal cords are normal. Okay? And treatment is conservative treatment. Reassure parents that it is self-limiting disease. Am I clear with that? Fine. Now, let's go to the next topic. Everyone, let's write the next topic. Next topic is pediatric laryngeal infections. Pediatric laryngeal infections. Okay, put an arrow. They lead to edema of larynx. They lead to edema of larynx, and that leads to airway obstruction. Pediatric laryngeal infections, they lead to edema of larynx, and that leads to airway obstruction. So let me tell you, this topic will be helpful for you in ENT also, in pediatrics also. Because these are pediatric laryngeal infections, they can be asked in ENT also, in pediatric also. So what is the main problem with this infection? They cause edema of larynx, and therefore they lead to airway obstruction. And airway obstruction leads to what? Respiratory difficulty plus, anybody what? Plus what? Yes, plus stridor. Remember, whenever the airways are obstructed, what happens is stridor. Plus stridor. Respiratory difficulty plus stridor. It leads to respiratory difficulty plus stridor. So it's a very emergency situation, beta. So when you are reading this topic, keep this picture of the child in the mind, beta. That is, this child is in a very critical state. Keep this child in mind, beta, with the intubation and ICU patient like that. So pediatric laryngeal infection are serious problems. They are emergencies actually. Why? They cause edema of larynx, which causes airway obstruction, which causes respiratory difficulty plus stridor. Now all of you know what is stridor? Stridor means noisy breathing. Do you remember that sound, beta? Stridor means noisy breathing. Am I clear, beta? Fine. So keep this patient in mind. Now, put an arrow. further two topics. Under this heading, we're going to read two topics. There are two infections which you should know out of this category. Two topics. Now, A, first topic, acute epiglottitis. The first topic is acute epiglottitis. Again, I remind you, it's a very important topic for pediatrics also, ENT also. Acute epiglottitis, write down. It is infection of supraglottis. It is infection of supraglottis. Look at the name, beta. Epiglottitis. No, think like a doctor. Epiglottis is a part of supraglottis. Nah? It is infection of supraglottis. Okay. Write down. Write down. Causative organism. Causative organism. What is the causative organism for this? Write down. Causative organism is Streptococcus pneumoniae is more common than influenza B, HIV. You know HIV? So, if they ask you microbiology question, what is the causative organism of acute epiglottitis? The best answer is Streptococcus pneumoniae. If that is not in the choice, then the second best answer is H. influenza B. So first common organism is Streptococcus pneumoniae. Second common causative organism is H. influenza B, the bacteria. So it is infection of supraglottis. It is caused by Streptococcus pneumoniae. Second common is H. influenza B, HIV. Okay. Can we go further with that? Now, can we go further? Okay. Now, write down. Chief complaint. Can you tell me there will be which problem? Respiratory difficulty. I told you now it's a respiratory problem because there's edema of the larynx, respiratory difficulty. Number two, anybody who can tell me which type of stridor? There will be stridor, yes. But it will be inspiratory stridor or expiratory stridor? Yes, it will be inspiratory stridor. Remember? Supraglottic problem causes inspiratory stridor. There are three types of stridor: inspiratory, biphasic, expiratory. I hope you revised the notes after yesterday class. If you could not revise the notes yesterday, no problem. Don't have the hangover of yesterday. It's not required. Please be kind to yourself. If you have not been able to do your best yesterday night, no problem at all. Today, we'll revise all the notes of larynx beta. It will not take you much time. Today, we'll revise all the notes of larynx beta. Okay? If you could revise it, wonderful. That's great. Inspiratory stridor. Number three, drooling of saliva. The patient has got throat pain, na? Even saliva cannot go down. Drooling of saliva. Patient has got pain in the throat now. How can the child, take the saliva inside? Huh? The drooling of saliva. Fourth, high fever. It's a bacterial infection. There will be high fever also. High fever. So respiratory difficulty, inspiratory stridor, drooling of saliva, and then eye fever. Eye fever. Okay. Now, next point. Right on. Age. Age is 2 to 7 years. It's a little grown-up child. Age is 2 to 7 years. Okay. Now, X-ray neck will show. X-ray neck will show thumb sign. Thumb sign. Thumb means swollen epiglottis. Epiglottitis. What is the name of disease? What is the name of disease, beta? Epiglottitis. So swollen epiglottis will look like a thumb. Okay, swollen epiglottis. Thumb sign. I'll show you thumb sign. Don't worry. First, right, what is the X-ray sign? Radiology question of your paper. Okay, X-ray will be showing thumb sign, beta. Let me show you thumb sign. Everybody, look at screen. Look at screen, beta. Here, everybody, look at the yellow arrow. This is the yellow arrow. Please see. This is the yellow. Can you see? It's X-ray neck. Can you see? It looks like the thumb. The epiglottis looks like a thumb because it is swollen epiglottis. Epiglottitis. It's an infection of the supraglottis. The epiglottis is swollen, and that swollen epiglottis look like a thumb. Actually, it's what somebody called thumb sign. Thumb sign, beta. Am I clear, beta? Thumb sign. Now, next one. Write down. Treatment. Treatment. Go. Number one, first treatment. Think like a doctor. This is MCQ, beta. Think like a doctor. First treatment. Yes. Can you think of what is the first treatment? Can you try it with me, beta? What is the first treatment in airway obstruction? Yes, it is that you should intubate the patient. Airway obstruction need airway management first. First treatment is, write down, is airway management. Airway manage airway management by intubation. Airway management by intubation, beta. You know, whenever there is an airway problem, then you should do first airway management by intubation. Okay. Now, put an arrow. Avoid repeated laryngoscopy. Avoid repeated laryngoscopy. Avoid repeated laryngoscopy. Because, why? Because it will increase the edema. Avoid repeated laryngoscopy because it will increase the edema. There is edema inside now. Don't do again and again laryngoscopy. You do one laryngoscopy, you put the intubation. Avoid repeated laryngoscopy because it will increase the edema. Am I clear? Avoid repeated laryngoscopy because it will increase the edema. Okay, fine. Have you written it, beta? Have you written it? Very nice. So first treatment is airway management by intubation. Avoid repeated laryngoscopy because it will increase edema. It will increase edema. Am I clear? Fine. Okay. Now, look at me, beta. Look at me. It's an airway emergency, beta. It is an airway emergency. Okay. So, you should be first managing the airway only. So you do the intubation, but don't do repeated laryngoscopy because it will increase the edema. Okay. Now look at the screen, everyone. Look at the screen. This is the pediatric intubation. Please see. Please see. You just hold the laryngoscope once. Take the endotracheal tube and put into the larynx and then trachea. That's all. This is the intubation method. But don't do repeated laryngoscopy again and again because this will increase the edema. Am I clear, beta? You just saw what? See again, beta. You just saw what? This is laryngoscopy, beta. He is holding what? A direct laryngoscope. Anesthesia people have direct laryngoscope, and then they take what? Endotracheal tube, and this is intubation. In any airway emergency, the first thing you should think of is intubation. Very good. But in this case, do not do repeated laryngoscopy because it will increase the edema. Am I clear, beta? Okay, very good. Now, let's come back to this one. Now, next one, beta. Next treatment. This was the number 1 treatment, beta. Now, number 2 treatment is steroids. Number 3 treatment is antibiotics. Number 2 treatment is steroids. Number 2 steroids. Number 3 antibiotics. Okay, fine. Very good. Very good. I hope you are enjoying the process of learning. That's the most important thing, you know. You're ultimately going to be a doctor. Always have this feeling with that. One day we are going to become a good doctor of this country and we're going to serve the patient in a scientific way. Come what may, but money will never be a problem for you. Don't worry. I'm running 20 years ahead of you. I finished my MBBS in 1998. You were not born even by that time. Okay, most of you, I would say, most of you. 1998, I finished my MBBS. And 2003, I finished my PG also. I can tell you with a lot of honesty in my heart that money will never be a problem for you. Money for survival, yes. Money for not Mercedes and, you know, Benz and all that, you know, not like that. But if you want to have a decent living, you can really manage that. That's not a problem. But what should be your aim in life after clearing this paper? That you have to become an able and, you know, a very passionate doctor, because that is what the whole essence of medicine is. You have to become very passionate about the subject and the profession and deliver your best services to the patient in an honest way. Money will never, mark my words for today, money is never a problem for doctors. Money is never a problem for doctors. We earn quite well. Have you ever seen a doctor dying of hunger? Have you ever seen a doctor dying of kwashiorkor or marasmus? Have you ever seen a doctor? No doctor dies of kwashiorkor or marasmus. Doctors die of obesity. We are eating too much actually. So it's not a problem of money. So we should aim to become good doctor of future. Okay. So in this intubation, okay, steroid, antibiotics. Perfect. This was acute epiglottitis. Okay. Now let's go further. Next topic. This was A, beta, over. Draw a line. Now B. Acute laryngo tracheo bronchitis. Acute laryngo tracheo bronchitis. We have done A, beta. Acute epiglottitis over. We are now starting ALTB, acute laryngotracheal bronchitis, also called croup. Pediatrician call it croup. So next topic is acute laryngotracheal bronchitis, also called as croup. Now write down. It is infection of complete airway. Look at the name, beta. Laryngotracheal bronchitis. Even chest got infected, beta. Laryngotracheal bronchitis. It is infection of complete airway. Okay. causative organism? Is influenza virus? It's a virus, not a bacteria. Epiglottitis was due to bacteria, Streptococcus or HIV, but here causative organism is a virus, para-influenza virus. Okay, now chief complaint. Number one, same na, respiratory difficulty. Respiratory difficulty. Number two, biphasic stridor. Biphasic stridor. It's infection of complete airway, na? Complete airway. Upper is inspiratory, lower is expiratory stridor, but it is laryngotracheobronchitis. So it will be biphasic stridor, na? The whole airway gets infected. Whole airway got infected. It's infection of complete airway. Okay. Now, where you written, it is infection of complete airway. In the bracket you can write. But subglottis is most affected part. You have written one word, it is infection of complete airway, in the bracket likho, but underline the word subglottis. Subglottis is the most affected part. Just add one line over there. It is infection of complete airway, but subglottis is most affected part. Subglottis is most affected part. And if you will remember yesterday class, beta, stridor is of three types. Supraglottic problem causes inspiratory stridor. Subglottic problem causes biphasic stridor. Remember, subglottic problem causes biphasic stridor, beta. That is why subglottic problem will cause which type of stridor? Biphasic stridor. You understand? It is infection of complete airway, but subglottis is most affected part. From yesterday class, you would be remembering supraglottic problem causes inspiratory stridor, subglottic problem causes biphasic stridor. Okay, now, number three, low fever. You know, viral infection causes low fever. When you get cold, you get low viral infection. Na? There's only low fever, na? Only myalgia, low fever. And number four, barking cough. There is cough also, beta. Laryngotracheobronchitis. Bronchitis is also there, na? What is bronchitis? Chest infection, na? There is barking cough. Okay. Can we go further? Now, X-ray neck will show. First of all, age. What is the age? Write down. Age is 3 months to 3 years. 3 months to 3 years. Okay. Just look at the first topic. In that epiglottitis, age was 2 to 7 years. Here the age is 3 months to 3 years. Okay. Now, X-ray neck will show. X-ray neck will show. There it was thumb sign now. Here it is steeple sign. Steeple means narrow. Steeple sign. It is narrowing of subglottis. In the first topic, it was thumb sign. Here it is what? Steeple, MCQ beta radiology question. Steeple sign on X-ray neck is a feature of laryngotracheobronchitis. What is steeple? Steeple means narrowing of subglottis. Narrowing of subglottis beta. Narrowing of subglottis. Okay. Now, let me show you what do you mean by steeple. Let me show you steeple sign. Okay, let me show you. First of all, you should know what do you mean by the word steeple. Steeple word has come from the church. You know, church has got some steeples. If you remember, church has got minar, which are tubular at the base, and the apex is conical. You know this kind of steeples of the church, beta. The church has got outer face steeples. The steeple minar, beta. The minar is tubular at the base and the conical at the apex, beta. Okay. Similarly, if you see the X-ray neck, look at the screen, beta. Look at the screen. This is your X-ray neck. Okay. Now please see. This is your trachea. This black shadow is the what? Trachea. Trachea. But as you go up, the black shadow gets narrow. This is what subglottis. Subglottis. Please understand. This is the trachea. This is the subglottis. Trachea shadow is normal. Subglottis is narrow. Steeple of the church. Okay, steeple sign. Again, look at the screen, beta. Can you see now yourself steeple, beta? Think like a doctor. Can you see steeple over here? This is your steeple, beta. Trachea. Okay, not trachea is normal, but subglottis is narrow to make a steeple. This is your steeple sign. Am I clear, bache? Am I clear? Fine. Can you see steeple sign, beta? Steeple sign. Okay. Steeple means narrowing. This is steeple. Narrowing of subglottis. Now, treatment. Write down treatment. Number one treatment is again airway management. Airway management. Airway management. Number two, bronchodilator. It's a bronchitis also, na beta? Look at the name. What is the name of ALTB? Full name. What is full form of ALTB? Acute laryngotracheobronchitis. Bronchitis need what? Bronchodilator. Number three, steroids. Steroids. And number four, antibiotics in the bracket to prevent secondary infection. Why antibiotics? It's not a bacterial infection, it's a viral infection. It's a viral infection. Why are you giving antibiotics? To prevent secondary infection. Patient may get another infection in the hospital. So we give antibiotics to prevent secondary infection. Am I clear, beta? So airway management, bronchodilator, steroids, and antibiotics to prevent secondary infection. Am I clear, bache? Okay, have you written it? Now everybody look at the two X-ray sign of this topic, beta. Now this topic, this is what anybody, what is this? This is, yes, it is thumb sign. Very good. It is thumb sign. It is seen in what? Acute epiglottitis. Now this is what? This is what? Steeple sign. This is what? Steeple sign. This is seen in what? ALTB. What is the ALTB? Acute laryngotracheobronchitis. Both of them are airway obstruction problems. So in both of them, the first treatment is secure the airway or to establish the airway. Okay? But you should remember, laryngotracheobronchitis is caused by viruses like parainfluenza virus. But epiglottitis was caused by bacteria. The most common bacteria is Streptococcus pneumoniae. The second common is H. influenzae B. Okay, fine. So thumb sign, steeple sign, all these are questions. Very good. Now, everybody draw a line. This topic is over. This topic, just look above in your notes. You're written pediatric laryngeal infections. You're done 2 topic under this heading. One topic is acute epiglottitis. Second topic is acute laryngotracheobronchitis. Am I clear? Fine. Now, let's draw a box. Now, 2 one-liner MCQs possible for your paper. Write down. Tuberculosis of larynx. Two signs. It has 2 signs to remember. Tuberculosis of larynx has got 2 signs to remember with that. Number 1, turban epiglottis. The epiglottis gets like turban. Turban epiglottis. Turban epiglottis. And number 2, mouse nibbled appearance of vocal cords. Turban epiglottis and mouse nibbled appearance of vocal cords are 2 signs of tuberculosis of larynx. T for tuberculosis, T for turban epiglottis. Turban has TB. Look at the name. Turban, TB, turban, TURB, turban, TB, larynx, turban epiglottis. Okay? Turban epiglottis, TB larynx. And second sign is what? Mouse nibbled appearance of vocal cords. Mouse nibbled appearance of vocal cords. Am I clear with that? Can we go further? Very good. So mark these, both are what? They are the one-liner question possible in your MCA paper. Okay. Now, one more single line question of psychiatry. Right on, psychiatry question, one line question. Mogiophonia. Mogiophonia. What is the mogiophonia? Write down. It is speech problem in public appearance only. Only in the public appearance. Otherwise, no problem in speech. When you are sitting with your friends, you are absolutely normal speech. But when you are facing the strangers, you are standing on the stage, you have to announce something on the mic, you start stammering. You know stammering on a haklana, stammering. Okay? So basically, it's not a speech problem, it's more of a psychological problem. It's a fear of people, unknown people particularly. So speech problem in public appearance only in public appearance. Public means stranger people, okay? Stage anxieties. People who are very scared to go on the stage. When they hold the mic, they get very, very, very anxious actually. Okay, how to remember? M for mogiophonia, M for mic. On the mic it happens. Mic, on the stage mic, in front of you, many audiences sitting who are strangers for you. Mogiophonia on mic. Speech problem in public appearance only. Okay. Now, can we go further? Let's go further with the next topic. Write down. Hypernasality. The nasal element of the voice is too much. Hypernasality of voice. Nasal element is of too much. Does do you remember there was one single called singer in Bollywood, Himesh Shamia. A very very nasal kind of sound, but a hyper nasality of voice is equal to rhino, lelia, aperta. Hypernasality of voice. Hypernasality of voice is equal to rhino, lelia, aperta. The nasal element in the voice should be proper, not too much, not less also. Okay, hypernasality of voice. Just look at me, beta. Yes, nasal element in somebody's voice should be medium. Too much nasal element will create a problem. Like you say Baba, your lip is moving like Baba. When you say Mama, look at my lips. Baba, Mama, same movement. Baba, Mama, same movement. If the nose contributes, the sound becomes Mama. If the nose doesn't contribute, the sound becomes Baba. So nasal contribution is very important for your sound to be proper. If nasal contribution is too much, for example, have you seen a child with cleft palate? You know cleft palate? The palate has got a defect, cleft palate. Now when the baby has cleft palate, his nose and mouth becomes one. Now when he says Baba, the sound produces not Baba, the sound becomes is Bama, like that. He said Baba, but the sound produces not Baba. He said Baba, but sound produces Bama, Bama. He is saying Baba, but sound is being produced for me, Bama, Bama. Nasal element become too much. And this hypernasality of voice is also called as rhinolalia aperta. Aperta. Okay? Rhinolalia aperta. Now, write down causes. What are the causes of this? What are the causes of this rhinolalia aperta? Causes are: number one, cleft palate. Number two, palatal perforation. Cleft palate, palatal perforation, palatal palsy. Submucous cleft palate. Submucous cleft palate. Number five, bifid uvula. Number six, palatal weakness. Is equal to velopharyngeal insufficiency. Cleft palate, palatal perforation, palatal palsy, submucous cleft palate, bifid uvula, palatal weakness, also called as velopharyngeal insufficiency. Velopharyngeal insufficiency. Note down, please. Cleft palate, palatal perforation, palatal palsy, then submucous cleft palate, and then palatal weakness, also called as velopharyngeal insufficiency. These are various causes of the rhinolalia aperta. Am I clear, beta? Okay. How to remember it in an easy way, beta? Okay. Just please see, aperta has P. Just put a line, P for palate, beta. Aperta has P, na? P for palate. Any problem of palate will cause rhinolalia aperta. P for palate, beta. P for palate. Any problem of palate will cause rhinolalia aperta. Okay. So let's revise. Hypernasality of voice is also called as rhinolalia aperta. Any problem of palate will cause rhinolalia aperta. Aperta is a P for palate, beta. What are the causes of rhinolalia aperta? Number one, cleft palate, palatal perforation, palatal palsy, submucous cleft palate, bifid uvula, palatal weakness, also called as velopharyngeal insufficiency. Okay, everything is palate, no? Okay, fine. Even uvula is a part of palate, no? Okay. Okay. Now, let's go the reverse of this. We go hyponasality of voice. Is equal to rhinolalia clausa. Hyponasality. Causes is the reverse, beta. Clausa. Clausa means close. Nose is closed, beta. Close, clausa. Look at the word clausa. Clausa means close. Number one, nasal polyp. Don't you think so? Polyp will close the nose, beta. Nasal polyp. Polyp will close the nose, beta. Okay. Number two, sinusitis. In sinusitis, there is a lot of blockage in the nose. Sinusitis, there will be a lot of blockage in the nose. That's why there is a rhinolalia clausa. Close now. Okay. Number three, adenoid hypertrophy. Adenoid is behind the nose. If adenoid is hypertrophied, it will close the nose. Okay. So anything which closes the nose will cause the rhinolalia clausa. Clausa means close. So let's revise. Hyponasality of voice, also called as rhinolalia clausa. Causes are number one, nasal polyp, number two, sinusitis, number three, adenoid hypertrophy. What is happening in these three conditions? These three conditions are causing the blockage of the nose. Polyp, sinusitis, adenoid hypertrophy will cause blockage of nose. Nose is closed now, so it will lead to rhinolalia clausa. Very easy question, beta. Rhinolalia aperta. Aperta means P for palate. Any problem of palate will cause rhinolalia aperta. Any problem which closes the nose, which blocks the nose, will cause rhinolalia clausa. Hypernasality versus hyponasality of voice. Okay. Now, can we go further? Now, the next topic. Now, this topic has been asked in MCI 2 times. Functional aphonia also called hysterical aphonia. Functional aphonia or hysterical aphonia. Again, a psychiatric condition, beta. Functional aphonia or hysterical aphonia. Look at the word, beta. Aphonia